Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Mama said there'll be days like this.
Hello, AfterBuzzers. Welcome to the after show for Manzo'd With Children, a tale of two families. And we'll be discussing the part 1 special of The Real Housewives of New Jersey. Teresa checks in. So this is a really good episode to check out to get your New Jersey fix. I'm your host, Grant Rutter, and the panel is here.
Hi, Fern, Ronay here.
Hi guys, it's Stecher.
I feel like we're all together again to discuss Teresa. It's like so
Yeah.
exciting.
I'm excited.
I've been
yes.
sick. I had cabin fever so bad for like 2 weeks, and I missed you guys. And I'm like, oh, I'm back. We got Teresa in the house.
It's
like I
all
feel
good.
great about it.
I love that like post-sick feeling when you're like, I'm back. Like I'm on top of everything.
today's the day.
That's great.
I
That's
feel like
great.
Teresa just getting out of prison.
Yes, let's talk about it. Well, before we get to that, Fern, I'm going to turn it over to you. This was probably one of my more favorite episodes of Manzo'd With Children.
Beer because he'd been
Right.
traveling
Yeah.
all day, you know?
Right.
Oh, you're right. So they're trying to make it seem like
Yeah, I think they
can't
were
deal
just
with-
on each other's nerves. Because
Yeah.
Caroline said something snippy like, "Oh, he's not listening to me," and he rolled his eyes, and I think they were using that as something that it wasn't. But
you're right.
anywho,
You're
Al
right.
had
They
his
do
moment
that.
eventually.
They do that, right?
Of
They're
course.
Yeah.
known to
I mean,
make
the
something
story
out of nothing.
producers are probably like try to roll with what they can with him, and Al does have a distinct personality when
Yeah.
it comes to things, and like, but yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of like I give kind of a break because when I travel, sometimes I'm not always the nicest person with dealing with jet lag and stuff like that. Like, I mean, it's
That's
like
true.
And you
it's
get
kind
like
of a lot.
hangry.
Yeah.
Yes, hangry, exactly.
yeah.
And then you're with his family. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing. You gotta, they're not super comfortable with them yet, so they kind of have to, feel they can't really necessarily like drop everything and be completely themselves. Oh
Right.
yeah, and there's a camera crew there. It's like, it's like
Right, that's true.
lots to think of.
I was hard on Al. Now I get it. I would have been like, I'm sick of this place too. Okay, so then Chris was in the car, in the cab, and he's saying, the only woman who truly loves me is my mom. Lauren's on the fence. His grandmother's kind of like him, but the only woman who truly loves him is his mother. And he said he learned to cook because he's never going to get married. And, he might as well know how to cook for himself when he's alone. And this really upset Carolyn. And she's, devastated that her child doesn't want to get married. So what do you think of that? If you had kids, none of us have kids, would you care if this hits a sore spot with me? Because for reasons I'll explain. But what do you guys think?
I think, even though I'm not married and don't have children and grapple with maybe I don't want either of those. I think as a mom, you want for your kid what, I was happy being married and my children brought me so much joy. So I think that as a mom, you probably think your kids don't know that they need that,
Right.
even if that's not what's right for them or what they
Right.
want. So I totally understand where Caroline's coming from, but she didn't really try to lecture him. I thought she went about it the right way. Just saying, oh, that breaks my heart that you feel that way was
Right.
sweet. She didn't get all Caroline about it.
I thought she was going to.
Yeah, she said like a really sweet speech to all of them. I was touched, actually.
It was sweet. Would you care?
Oh, I was surprised this was the first time that they were hearing this because usually like. If someone, like, I've always kind of said, like, oh, I don't think we'd have any kids. And, like, so my family's always kind of looked to my sister, who's younger than me, so it's not going to happen anytime soon. But it's always, like, people have, like, thought, that she would be the one that would bear
Right.
children. Because I've always been like, so I think, like, don't most parents know, especially when you're, in your late 20s, kind of like the trajectory of their child's, like,
Right, she
life.
shouldn't be surprised by this
Yeah.
by now. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, his lifestyle and all that.
true.
But I feel like, still, for myself, and even for Chris, like, it's a little early. I mean,
Right. That's
Yeah,
what I
he's
think
still
too.
young.
Yeah.
He's so young, and then it's like if he hasn't met the right girl, maybe that's exactly how he feels at this moment in time. And if he does meet someone he wants to marry, that could totally change for him.
Right. Right. I just feel like that sometimes these shows, they're funny and we love them, but sometimes they do play on the Italian American stereotype, and there is this stereotype that they're like, get married, you have to have kids. So the minute after I was married, everyone was like, when are we planning your baby shower? And I was like, never. And that touches a sore spot with everyone except my mother, who does not care. So I am so grateful that I have parents who are like, you have to do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
And so when I saw this, I was like, they're playing the stereotype, but things could change, and you just want your kids to be happy. So
Yeah.
anyway, who can't be happy in Italy?
Yeah.
Exactly.
There was a tray of drinks that came out, and all of them looked so wonderful. I don't know which one I would
And the
want
dinner
first.
looks good.
Yes.
So congrats, Lauren. So that seemed to be the meat of it.
Mm-hmm.
You think? I
I thought that margarita girl that they threw in was adorable. The
You
little
think she
love
was
interest.
cast? Obviously. I think she was mic'd, right?
A beautiful girl.
She was beautiful.
Beautiful girl sitting the next table over, and they're like, oh,
Basically
Chris.
facing them.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, Chris, this beautiful girl's all alone over here.
I was like, they should have invited her to dinner. Why'd they let her go?
I thought they had a good point. Like, it's the middle of the afternoon on a Tuesday. If we were back in America, Mom would have a major problem with this girl being sitting in a cafe drinking.
Right, exactly. And I was cracking up when they called her his Apollonia.
Yes, I know. It's been a million years since I've seen The Godfather, and I was like did the Godfather wiki, like, hold on, who was she?
I remember it too well. But yes, there was his Michael
was
Corleone moment.
Yes.
Yes, it was
cute.
very cute. But it's a cute show, but now let's talk about it.
Sure.
Well, I'm ready, for the wedding. Like, I'm over with the, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sick of
Yes.
I
waiting.
agree. Yeah, we've heard enough about the wedding. It's
Yeah.
not time to see it all come
Yeah.
together. Like, we've seen bits and pieces, what she's gonna wear, the jewelry and all that, the earrings, and so then it's like I want to see it all kind of come together now.
Yes.
Let's watch it happen.
It'll be a good finale in
Right.
2 weeks.
Well, from the Manzo house over to the Giudice mansion. We'll talk about, what are you gonna do?
What are you going to do?
Joe Gorga. Joe Gorga is involved too, but Giudice is mom, Mr. Mom in this episode, and we've seen a whole new angle to this man. I thought he was just like some foolish buffoon all his time, drinking, running around, watching Teresa do everything. But we did see a different side of him. We're 6 months into Teresa's prison sentence. It's June. And there's another Teresa running around the house that was kind of a little poetic. Mm-hmm. Their cousin Teresa.
Right.
What
There
did
aren't
you-
enough
yeah.
Teresas in Joe.
Yeah, I know. Oh, God, I know. What did you think of getting back in that house and just seeing the state of everything where we were?
It was kind of strange that they're still living there, which is a little weird, but that's a whole other issue. And it was a little heart-wrenching to see all the girls a little more grown up. They're all still really cute. Their mom's not around. It was weird to be in Teresa's house without Teresa.
I loved it. I can't get enough. I need a full 26 episode order of this. I felt like this show had a lot of meat. And I was
Yes.
into it. I was like, well, the house still looks great. It hasn't burned down.
Right.
No.
Congratulations, Joe. Buffing the floors. I mean, the whole thing, like the cooking chiseling the frozen sausages out to cook breakfast was... This couldn't have gone better for these cameras. Like, this was really
It was
great.
perfect.
I just could not get, there was a lot there. I know, Grant, you're going to cover it all. I don't want to jump ahead. I couldn't get enough. I'm glad the house is still standing.
It didn't look
I thought
shabby.
the girls looked great. I think there's a lot of help going on with Joe that we got to see cousin Teresa come over and her husband or whatever. I'm sure there's a lot of other people on his family side that are helping too, since he can't drive them anywhere and it's 4 kids with activities. I mean, the school bus only gets you to school and home.
Yeah.
They all have activities. So I'm sure he's got a lot of help we haven't seen, but we'll see.
My first impressions of the whole thing were basically that I thought it was very well produced, and it was enough of information planted throughout, and the presence of having the lawyer there to really kind of give because there's kind of Teresa speak, and then there's the real legality speak, kind of it was you know what I mean, it was more like he kind of really spelled things out and kind of gave us some extra information, and I think it's smart. I was wondering why there wasn't any legal presence on the last season of Real Housewives of New Jersey. Now this time, this guy's all over you, sitting in the chair doing an interview, and I think it's very smart on their part. And this lawyer actually seems like he has their best, what am I saying?
And he's
best interest.
yeah,
Best
and he seems like
interest.
such like an Italian family guy, so he's perfect
Right.
for them. He can get
Yeah.
down on their level and talk
Right.
to them in their kind of like everyday speak, and then he comes to the camera with like, here's what's going on.
Right.
Because all you ever get out of Joe is, what are you gonna do? Like, he doesn't answer the question. And when he does ever answer a question, Teresa used to be like pinching him and punching him like, shut up, you can't say that. So I think you're absolutely right. It's a perfect thing to have him there spelling out what really is going on, because
Yeah.
Joe and Teresa really are never that honest. So
Right.
it's good to have him there.
And a good example of that is at the top of the episode, Joe says, well, you know, she's at a low budget spa. And,
I
my
died.
and then the lawyer goes, well, it's exactly what you think it is. There's barbed wire. It's not a country club.
Exactly.
One person saying one thing, and then, typical, welcome back to New Jersey, kids. A mess. One thing that a couple like I said, things along the way stuck out to me. Teresa's father can't go and visit her, I guess, because of his medical conditions. So he's not going to see his daughter at the later years of his life for almost a full year.
And from
That's a
Teresa's
lot.
perspective, she's probably worried
Losing.
sick that something's going to happen to him, God forbid.
And she's losing time with him
Yes.
on the earth. You know,
Exactly.
Well, it seems like she's very close with him. She was the one arranging all of his medical care and everything. So apparently she's still doing that from jail. I mean, I can't with the lawyer telling the stylist, she's like a mob boss. She just barks orders at you. If you don't do them, she gets angry. And I'm like, you fool, this is on camera. Oh my God, you're supposed to be representing their best
Right.
interests to the public. But look, it was the one honest thing we've heard about that woman in
Right.
5 years. So
That's like Joe saying she got the roses. Or her telling him, even though the cameras were there, I have my ways of getting the roses to Gia.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Shawshank Redemption. Like,
Yeah.
keep this stuff to yourself. You're already
Yeah.
in trouble.
I like it though. I like it from a perspective of just being like Teresa's being herself.
Right.
And she was, even though we didn't see her at all in the show, she had pretty good presence throughout the episode. And I thought it was great when they had the daughters kind of lined up on the couch talking about the experience and, just briefly, like, we have seen them grow.
It was a little
bit.
jarring
Yeah.
at first to see them being interviewed. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, it was a
Yeah.
little weird
Yeah.
to see the little ones.
I was just shocked by how grown up Gia
Yes.
is. I was
Oh,
like,
yes.
well, first of all, her looks. She looks like a girl who just went to college, not a girl who's about to go into high school. Like, that was freaking me out. And then to see all the three younger girls be old enough to, like, just fully talk about anything. They've grown up so much
Yeah.
so quick.
Yeah, I remember when Adriana was born on the show.
Yes.
So, yeah, it shows the longevity of that show for real. Joe, her brother, talks about how he goes back and forth with Teresa through email and that she still sends him some quips and she's nasty and sweet. There's still something, I mean,
They're
know,
so
we
competitive
know.
with each other.
Yeah.
She's so competitive with Melissa. It'll never go away. Even now in this bad situation, she just can't let it go.
No. Oh, she's got
That's
nothing but
sad.
time to think about it, too.
Yeah.
But Melissa took the high road throughout the episode, and she really said that she'd be there for Gia, for all the girls. She wants to be more involved. Like, I felt she was genuine. Of course, fans of this show feel either strongly for or against Melissa. What do you think? Do you think she was being fairly genuine with her wanting to be involved?
I do. I think she's been genuinely concerned for these kids and wanting to help out since before Teresa was even sentenced. I remember her crying about it on Real Housewives. And to see that they're being frosted out. I don't know, what do you call that?
Yeah,
like
that's a
being
good
boxed
term.
out.
Yeah,
yeah.
They're being frozen out by
Yeah.
Joe, because I guess Teresa's not comfortable with Joe and Melissa being involved with the girls, and she's like, especially if I'm not going to be there to monitor them being around my kids, like, it's not happening. Is in my mind what she said to Joe before she went away.
Yeah.
So, and I think that Gia has kind of taken on the role of being the mom in the house, and I'm sure she knows a lot of what went on with Melissa and Joe and Teresa. And so, the whole thing of her saying to the camera, well, I'm just not comfortable with her yet, or I'm just not comfortable with that yet, when talking about spending time with Melissa. And it made me so sad, because Melissa would be the perfect person to be there for her. She's close in mom's age. She's got her own 3 kids. She's a great mom. It just and her husband is Gia's godfather. So I'm
Right.
sad that the two families are still not comfortable enough that their can't be there for each other.
Yeah, it's so sad, but it makes sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense. It shouldn't be that way, but I can understand why it's happening because Teresa is still so competitive with Melissa. She probably, like you said to Joe, they can't be, she's going to be so jealous of Melissa being there at the 8th grade dance when she's stuck in prison.
Right. Yeah.
She is so envious and does not want her around. And I can see that, of course, Gia's loyalties are to her mother, so she's not going to say, she's going to say I'm not comfortable with it and make herself not comfortable with it.
I feel like it's very real. If this was a scripted show, then the family would bond together and bury the hatchet and let bygones be bygones. But no, these people still are living and breathing humans that carry around resentment and jealousy and all
as
that
far
stuff.
as Melissa being genuine, I think she was, but I think she had no choice. Like, she has no choice but to cry on camera and be like, I will be there for them. Because what's the flip side? Like, I'm still mad at Teresa, or like,
She has to cry again right
Yeah.
now. She kind of has a little obligated, right?
It's probably in her contract.
Yeah. So let's talk about how Gia's on the phone with Teresa. She's has her makeup on, but she's saying like it's not done yet. But she gets emotional on the phone. But there was a really touching moment where Teresa's father couldn't watch it. He had to leave the room. And he went to the front door, and then Melania put her arm around him.
I
So
almost
real.
cried.
I know.
That was sweet. I don't expect that out of Melania.
No, she
know.
would be the last one.
Yeah.
I rewound it twice to make
Me
sure
too.
it
I
was
was
her.
like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. And they cut right but when she was like grabbing his hand.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, broke my
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah. That's such a real moment. I loved that. Personally, I think that would be my cheers for this episode if we could do cheers and jeers.
They're also protective of him, that they didn't even want him to see even Gia or anyone, They're so protective of him.
Right.
It's really
It
sweet.
makes me wonder, but, he must really be fragile.
Yeah. We learned in this episode that Melania, Adriana, and Gabriella believe that Teresa is working, but of course Gia knows what's going on. I don't know how this could be possible.
Well,
It's not.
I
They
watched,
said on Watch What Happens Live, right?
Live. He asked Joe, he said, do the younger girls really think she's working?
Right.
And Joe's like, no, they know everything. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Speaking of
Thank you. I was going to say, you're on the phone, a call from a federal prison. Oh, mom's working.
I know.
Kids don't know what prison means.
That was so dumb. I don't know why they bothered saying that because all 3 kids are gathered around when every 10 minutes it goes, a federal prison.
I watched it twice because I listened to Gia. I was like, is she saying, like, are we supposed to buy into these kids think she's working?
Oh my
Well, that's
God,
another thing.
please.
It's like she's being fed things to say that Teresa told her to say. And
Yes.
Teresa was always like, the girls don't know. And it's like, yes, they do. Teresa, we're not dumb enough to
Exactly.
believe that. So stop
Exactly.
lying to us.
Exactly. It's
It's-
insulting.
It's almost nice that she wasn't there because we got so much truth out of everybody
Right.
else.
That's true.
It was great.
Because she never said anything that was really going on.
No.
And it was totally fed to her that she's working on a book,
Yeah.
keeping a diary, working on a book that'll be released. So she is sort of working in prison. Like, come on.
Well, it made me sad when Teresa said, like, I hope in the end, like, oh, I hope this doesn't ever affect the girls. I pray about that all the time. And I'm like, poor Gia.
Yeah.
She's at such a tender age where you need your mom so much. And she has taken on the role because, Joe, good as he's trying, lacks in a lot of departments. He can't even drive her somewhere
Right.
legally. Who knows what's really going on when the cameras aren't on out there. But I mean, that poor girl has taken on so much. I mean, God knows what Teresa's saying to her to do every Sunday when she goes to see her, as far as like, take care of this, take care of that, tell the girls this, do that. It looks like she's like basically mothering Melania when Melania has her tantrums. And I think it's going to affect her so badly at some stage of life,
Right.
which I feel terrible about.
Yeah, I mean, she said she was 14. Like, I'm a 14-year-old. I was like, whoa. I figured she was that age, but just watching her and listening to her up until this point in the episode, I just didn't place her in that 14-year-old age bracket at all.
She seems to be doing great, and she's so poised, and
Yeah.
she looks great, and
She looked beautiful for
Yeah.
that dance.
yeah, and
Gorgeous.
she's gorgeous, and just the way she's been carrying herself, she's so grown up now,
Yeah.
which is nice. Yeah, she's still on the honor roll and all of that stuff, but like you said, it could years later. Who knows?
And
Hopefully,
maybe it's
hopefully
like
she's fine.
hopefully it's not like a growing up too fast and things go in the wrong direction.
Right.
Yeah. We've heard other housewives on this franchise kind of allude to her just knowing way too much too soon over the years. So
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
who knows? Well, there was a memorial service that we saw in the back of the house, and it made me question. I mean, let's be real. This is a home that's in foreclosure.
Right? How are you going to sell that house with a memorial in the?
Yeah, and not only that, they're planting this tree that has a lot of significance. But if you're going to be thrown out of the house because the bank is going to own the house, what's the point? Like, you should invest in perhaps a nice mausoleum or something that you
Right.
can visit, because when you're not going to be able to pay your respects that way when the bank puts the big lock on the door.
Exactly.
It's that
It
simple.
makes no sense.
Oh, well, I think it's totally movable.
It was a nice scene, but I don't know about long term.
Well, I think everything there is like a transferable piece of.
Oh, so they'll move the tree,
Yeah, I don't think anything is cemented into the ground.
or maybe they'll plant a new tree in their new
Yeah.
home.
Well, yeah, the cross that they had there, it didn't look like that was permanent. So maybe
Like the two benches there, and then the slate with the cross on it, or whatever kind of stone they used in the ground. I don't think anything that was like cemented in.
moved.
So I think they can
But for
excavate
aesthetic
everything.
purposes and like, you know, how someone feels about the house when they see it, if it's a potential buyer, I don't know if that's gonna help.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it was nice nonetheless. And
Oh,
Joe's
it was moving.
Joe's
Yeah.
very humbled.
He really is.
The ego has been deflated quite a bit.
I mean, what is there to be proud of when you got your wife sent to prison, you're going to prison, possibly being deported, your father died at your home unexpectedly? Like, he's just going through the worst possible things that just took away any attitude, ego, all of that he had before.
He used to never participate in interviews. Now there's like
Yeah.
a whole show of him being interviewed.
I watched that. I said, who would have thought this guy's got all the answers now?
Right? Right? Like he
Yeah.
never, there was never
goes
much
up.
going on. He never had more than 2-syllable,
Yeah.
responses to things. And now he's become, I didn't think it was possible, but a bit more reflective, introspective, saying, and appreciative that how wonderful Teresa is. I was like, whoa.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was watching this, and all my doubt of him possibly dating that stripper or going out and stepping out on her, all that was kind of washed away. And maybe it's just me
too.
being whitewashed through the show, perhaps. I don't know their relationship personally, but I was like, wow, okay, he's really like holding off for he's sleeping on the couch. Like, he's really like living for her. The absence makes the heart grow fonder, but he's also really found a respect for her that I don't think, not that he never respected her, I just think that there's a another level of respect when you're in a situation like
Well,
this.
he definitely didn't respect her. Yeah, he called her the C word. Like,
Oh, really?
right? There's
Thank
all
you.
that.
Yeah, where are all those flashbacks? We saw all the other flashbacks.
Right. So yeah, I think he found love again for her. It might be guilt. He feels very guilty about his father, about this. He's changed. He seems
He's
to
a
be a bit
changed
changed.
man, yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, and then I want to talk about how they can't. Oh yeah, no, I want to talk about now how he can't flip houses, but he can do this construction. So we saw what he's doing for money, because that was a big question actually out there in the press. Is like, well, what do they do for money? Like, they owe all this cash, like it's just this little special. But he's out there doing manual labor, so he says he puts food on the table.
Right. Got to commend him for that. He's doing something.
Right.
I don't know who's paying for all these big, great spreads they're having at, like, the dance and the graduation party, but he's putting food on the table.
There were a lot of people at that party that they had. the
Yeah,
dance-
before the
yeah.
dance.
Yeah.
It was like the whole 8th grade came over.
Yeah, I wonder if it was a lot of like moms who were curious, like when Teresa Giudice's house, they're gonna go check out the party.
I would be there 5 minutes early.
my God,
exactly.
totally.
Yeah. So that's probably what it is. So Joe can only visit Teresa every 2 weeks, while the kids visit her every weekend because he's a felon, as we learned. So like all these little bits just made it worth watching, because you're getting fed certain things. Like, of course, we have like the Rosie drive-by, and like why that doesn't hold any weight watching Manzo'd with Children for me. I thought, like, okay, they had a little joke, a little humor, a little break in the situation if he was gonna have a boyfriend or whatever. But it's like, it was all well put together for me, this whole episode.
Yeah, it was really good.
And I feel like one almost could be enough. I don't know what's going to come up next. But, I mean, I thought it was just so well done that I would have been happy had there been one special. It answered enough for me. Of course, I'm excited there's 2, and we'll be covering those right after we cover Manzo'd with Children here. So, you have to stay tuned for that. But I'm overall happy with it.
It was meaty.
It was very moving.
I think we've been lacking a lot of substance the past few years in our New Jersey shows, and we're like, this was so much information and realness. Oh, God, it was so good.
Now, Joe sleeping on the couch was a real moment watching the show, and he's just admitted he couldn't sleep in the bed without his wife. And that, to me, just like watching him like pass out, was just kind of, I almost kind of felt bad for the guy, because he was just like, that. He's at the end of his rope, and it's just, he's doing the best he can. But could you imagine having to go through all that? And I thought about this today, throughout the day. I was like, he is working towards having Teresa come back, only to have to go away for 41 months. Like, talk about nothing really to live for.
Right? Yeah.
I mean,
well,
terrible.
He's got everything to live for. He's got 4 kids he needs to live for. It's just that he's got a really hard roadblock ahead of him. That's a long time to be
hard to stay
tucked
motivated.
Away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what is strange to me? I know Gia mentioned that her mom looks so relaxed. It's like, all the fighting and worrying and, trying to stay out of jail is over. It's happening. She's getting through it, and she's relaxed. There's no more bags under her eyes. I thought Joe looks so much better than he's looked in years. Because I'll bet he's actually going to bed on time because he's got to get up and be with the kids and take care of stuff. He's probably busy all day. He takes care of the kids. He goes and does construction. He's exhausted. He goes to bed.
Yeah.
And he's not up drinking all night, which I think was a problem off and on.
Yeah.
And I think he looks so much better than he has. So it's almost like this has been good for them in a way.
I was thinking that too, because I my prediction was that after he served his sentence, he would move to Italy. They would never get divorced. They would just live separate lives, and he would just like have a million girlfriends and drink and do whatever. And then she would be, she doesn't need, she would just be here with her 4 girls. But now I think he has such an appreciation for her, and I don't know. I think my prediction's wrong now. Now I don't know. I feel like the good to come out of it was that, they are living healthier lives, and he appreciates her.
Well,
majorly.
they certainly couldn't continue on this path of felony and crime. So,
and they didn't seem cohesive before. Now they seem like they're talking to each other, and they they're
like a
unit.
team.
Yeah,
because he has to do what she tells him. She's not doing everything all day by herself.
Right.
It's like he has to do what she needs him to do because she can't do it. And it's like they're like a good team right now.
Right.
It's kind of crazy.
I'm curious to see what the ratings were like, because it's just like, I mean, these are 2 people that, while we feel bad and we talk about things, they are 2 convicted felons doing time. So there's that. There's also the fact that the average Bravo viewer probably doesn't really have a direct family member incarcerated / doesn't really understand like all the details behind it. So like, I'm sure a lot of curious people, myself included, wanted to know how it all broke out. So I really want to know how the ratings were.
Yeah, I wonder. I think they were probably good. I think there's just this morbid curiosity.
Yeah. I got excited to see, and not gonna lie, I got excited to see the Real Housewives of New Jersey on the DVR again. Like, okay, it's been a minute. It's been like 3 minutes.
Well, and Andy has admitted in interviews that Teresa's fans are the most crazy, like the most like just, I don't want to say rabid. Yeah, I would say like the most intense fans of any housewife.
The tree huggers.
So the tree huggers. So maybe they came out of the woodwork and the ratings were great. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I think it'll be a success.
I could see the one side, like, let's not reward these people. They did a very bad thing. They lied. They stole money. But that we've watched them for years. We're invested in their lives. We can't help but be interested.
Right,
So.
it's fair enough. Yeah, I mean, we saw the daughter be born on the show, like we mentioned earlier. Like, it's just like we're in too deep.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're in too deep. So let's take a look forward and predict what's coming up on the second part of the special. And then we can even predict what Manzo'd if you like.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, I don't know.
For Manzo'd, I
That's
predict
one
that
Oh.
Lauren is someone who doesn't want to jinx things. And so she doesn't want to buy a baby blanket. She doesn't want her father to walk her down the aisle. That's kind of what I saw in the previews, which I'm kind of like that too, so I'm with her. But yeah, that's what I say. They're still in Italy. The moms want to buy a baby blanket, and it's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think with Lauren, what I see for next week is her being like, stop pressing all of your wishes and wants on me. She's like, I'm not even married yet. I'm still in bridezilla mode. I'm freaking out about the details. We're not even back in the U.S. where I can take care of all of that stuff. And stop pushing your baby dreams and drama on me. We're so not ready for that.
Right.
And then God, for next week for New Jersey. I mean, all I can remember from the preview was that Teresa got the shakedown. She told Gia to tweet for her, and so now they think she's concealing a cell phone, and she had to bend over and cough. And I'm like, oh my, that just got really real. So I'm not sure what we're gonna see. I'm hoping it's at least half as packed full of meaty goodness that we got this week.
We saw them at their shore house. That was like another moment where I'm like, we see them at their shore house having fun that she's also missing out on.
Here's my question. Was that from the weekend that we talked about in gossip, that like there was an argument with the kids and somebody was locked out?
And the police showed up.
Well, I can't wait to see what happens. I mean, did this drama make it on camera?
Yeah.
Or
I'm
did
curious.
they show it?
I'm curious.
Or is the gossip about it wrong?
Right.
You know what I mean?
The lawyer could have been like, "Nope, we're not. This isn't being televised."
That's
and
true.
you know the production company is.
That's
pissed.
true. If he was there while they were filming, he could have been there while they were filming every time, just to protect them.
And I'm sure there is some type of final say through them doing this through the legal team, because they just have to protect everything they can.
Right.
So
They should have had him from season 1. Should have been in the wings.
Oh God, season 1
when she was
Teresa's
buying furniture with cash.
Yeah. And then I guess her minutes are gonna run out, which is of course like makes Melissa like get pissed, because she's not pissed but sad for them being able to not have that option to talk to their own mother, which is just awful. But unfortunately, that is their reality. So I was watching. If you haven't already, look at the Today Show interview with Joe. Did you check that one out?
No, not yet.
It was to promote this show, and it was a different side of Joe. It wasn't as charismatic, and they broached the subject how he felt about deportation, and he took 29 seconds to not answer anything. But the interview was interesting.
Who interviewed
him?
him?
Check that out. Tamron.
Yeah. I saw replayed from that was where he took 29 seconds to not answer. How do you feel about being deported? So that's something I should check out.
You saw him talk about what him and Teresa are going to do when she gets out of prison, which I can't unhear.
I was so
I would like to
disgusted.
unhear that.
Why are they so competitive about their sex life? All she wants to talk about is how much sex they have, and it's like, oh, he's so attractive. I'm like, he's not everybody's cup of tea.
I feel like they're competing again, still with Melissa. It's like, who loves each other more? Like, it's so ridiculous.
Right, like who has more sex? Like, ugh.
God, you're adults. Like, stop it.
Yeah, they've always been strange with that.
Who has time for that much sex? Get out of here.
And they're all old. They all are old enough to have kids who can understand and comprehend what they're talking about in these interviews.
That's true.
And these interviews are going to be around forever.
And that's a great point.
Yeah, it's not like it's like Jersey Shore where none of them have kids at the time. It's just like, they're all like...
But I think of their kids like watching the old episodes. Oh my God, they're going to be scarred for life.
Yes. Well, where can we keep the conversation going? Talking about Manzo'd and this special, because there's a lot more to say.
Woo, hey guys, it's Megan Stecher. You guys can find me on Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere, worldwide. It's all at Megan Stecher, MEGANSTECHER.
And this is Fern Ronay. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Fern Ronay. And I have a book coming out later this year, the story of a single 29-year-old Manhattan lawyer who's guided in her dreams by her dead Italian grandparents. If you're interested, please follow me for release information.
And you guys can find me over on Twitter at Grants__rants. And you can find me on my podcast, Grants Rants Hollywood Talk. That'll do it for us from Manzo'd With Children and the Real Housewives of New Jersey, Teresa checks in.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.